Hi friend, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are talking turkey. I have 3 turkey breasts here and we are going to make 3 different versions of turkey breast using the crock pot, the Instant Pot, and the stove. Hey there, if you're new, I'm Stacy. Welcome to my kitchen. What do you say? Let's talk turkey. Let's get to it. All 3 of these recipes are going to be using a bone-in turkey breast. Now, you can also do this with a turkey roast if you want to. Your cooking time and your brining time will be a little bit different, and I'll give you those variations along the way. But our very first thing that we need to do is we need to make sure that our bird is going to fit into our cooking appliance. Now, the main one is going to be the crock pot because I just have the 3.5 quart crock pot. So I need to make sure that my turkeys are going to fit. At least one of them is going to fit in there. So what do you say? Let's see. Up first, let's see which of these turkeys will fit in the 3.5 quart crock pot. If you have a larger crock pot, this might not even be an issue at all, but I wanted to see with the 3.5 quart what size bird I could get. So first up is going to be a 6.06 pound. We're going to put this in, and you can see, even if it shrinks down a little bit, that's not going to work. Up next, 5.86. There we go. I think that might be our crock pot turkey. Perfect. So now I have one last one. Even though we've kind of narrowed it down and we know that this is the one that we're going to use, we can try this last one. This one is 6.23 pounds. And I do not think my lid is going to close on top of that. Doesn't quite work. Okay, so we know that our 5.86 is going to go into the crock pot. Now my Instant Pot is the giant 8 quart Instant Pot. So I'm pretty sure that any of these are going to fit in here just fine. I do have the rack in the bottom because I do want it to set off of the inner pot just a little bit. So I do want to make sure that it will fit in there. And again, we'll just take our turkey, put it down inside there, but we want to make sure that we can still get the lid on. So we'll just make sure, no problem. And this was the 6 pound and 6 ounce turkey breast. Just for grins, we'll try the 6.23 pound as well. But like I said, there's going to be no problem at all because this Instant Pot is so large. There we go. No problem. Now that we have figured out which turkey is going to go in which appliance, we need to do something called brining. And I'm going to brine all 3 of these exactly the same way. You need to do a brine just to kind of make it juicy and lock in that moisture. It really makes a difference. You'll do it the night before you want to bake it, but it is so worth it. So let's create our brine. For our brine, it is really easy. We just need a little sugar, a little salt, a little citrus, some garlic, peppercorns, and here I have 2 sprigs of rosemary. If you don't have any rosemary, you can also use 2 bay leaves as well. Now, if you are thinking this is too much work, there are brines available on the market. This is one that we like. It's Meat Church. I'll leave the Amazon link down below if you want to try it. If not, or if it's not available in your area, again, it is so easy to create your own. All we have to do, here I have 8 cups of water. This is going to be my Instant Pot bird. And then the other 2 turkeys are going to get brined exactly the same way. I'm not going to show this to you 3 different times. We're just going to do this one time because it's exactly the same for all 3 birds. Everything goes into the pot here. Have our sugar and our salt. I'm going to give a little squeeze of that lemon. I'm doing lemon and orange here, but you could just do all orange or all lemon. You just need a citrus. And then for our garlic cloves, all I'm going to do is just smash it with the back of my knife so that I can get the peel off, and then I'll just throw it in just like that. I'm going to open up the turkey and we'll put the turkey down inside here. Now, this is your gravy packet. If you want to keep it, great. But I find I don't need that because I'm going to make my own. So I can toss this, no problem. Now I am going to take this to the sink and I'm going to empty out some of the liquid that's in here, and then I'll put it in the brine. Now that that extra liquid is out, we're just going to set this right down inside there. And I'm going to kind of use the turkey to kind of stir up that salt and sugar in the bottom. Now you can see it doesn't quite cover. That was 8 cups of water. So I am going to add just a little bit more water just because I'm going to cut this off. So I'm not going to worry about covering this part. Okay. So now that that's gone, add a little bit more water. Now I'm going to go wash my hands and disinfect my counters. We're going to leave these turkeys to brine for a total of 8 hours, which in my case is going to be overnight. So I'm going to leave these overnight, and then tomorrow I will meet you right back here and we will start cooking up some turkey. Hey friend, as I make my way to the refrigerator with this brine turkey, I wanted to take a moment to remind you to hit that subscribe button. I'm here every single week bringing you those quick, easy, delicious, affordable meals, and I hope that you're here with me next week. This is a special one, but next week it'll be meals. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, that notification bell if you've already subscribed. Thank you for being here, friend. I appreciate you. Also, don't forget that in the description box below will be a link to my website that will take you to the printable recipe of all 3 of these turkeys. Okay, back to talking turkey. Here's what we're going to need for our herbed Instant Pot turkey. We need to make our herb butter, and to do that, we're going to need a stick of softened butter, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, pepper, poultry seasoning, sage, and thyme. Now, a note on these seasonings. If you don't love sage, you can swap out rosemary. If you don't like thyme, you can swap that out for basil. It's a very forgiving and swappable recipe, so I'm basing it on sage, poultry, and thyme, but again, use your favorite herbs here. It will still be delicious. In addition to that, we're going to need a 1/2 tablespoon of paprika, onion powder, and garlic powder. I also have some house seasoning. And again, if you're new here, house seasoning is just equal parts salt, pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. And I like to sprinkle that on top as a final step. For the bottom of our Instant Pot, we're going to do some chopped carrots. I just have carrots here that I chunked. You can see I didn't even peel them at all. And then I have an onion that I sliced. You could also use some celery in here too as well if you wanted to do that. Now, because I'm going to use the drippings for gravy, I also have 2 cups of broth here. And then of course the star of the show, I have the turkey that has been brining all night. So now I'm going to drain my turkey and get ready to put our herb butter together. Let's put this butter together. We have our softened butter here. Save your paper so that you can rub the bird down with that. Then we're going to add our garlic, onion, and paprika, and then those yummy poultry seasonings as well. Stir that all up, and we're going to reserve 3 tablespoons for the end. Okay, let's get our turkey over here. before I bring my turkey over and contaminate everything, I wanted to go ahead and set up my Instant Pot. So I'm just going to put the onion down at the bottom, along with the carrots. Now I am going to be using the rack just to keep it off of the bottom. All right, now our broth is going to go in. And now we'll go grab our turkey. The first thing we need to do is get under this skin so that we can put that herb butter, that smells amazing, by the way, under the skin. So we'll just come in here and then we'll come from the other way. Again, I'm leaving the neck in just because it's a little bit easier for me. Do I want to be nice or just get in there with my hands? I think you all know the answer to that. Hands are your best tools. Okay, now I'm just going to keep doing this until both sides are coated and all of that herb butter is gone. Now that we've got all of the herb butter on there, I'm going to do one more thing. I'm just going to take this butter wrapper and put it all over the top. Now I'm going to set this down inside the Instant Pot and head over and wash my hands. Now that my hands are washed, our last step is just to come in with that house seasoning, and we're just going to sprinkle all over the top. Anything that we can see is going to get coated with that house seasoning. Now this is going to go on high for 7 minutes per pound. We know that this is a 6-pound bird, so that means we're going to set it for 42 minutes. Then we're going to do a 15-minute natural release. So I'm going to put the lid on and we are going to start this for 42 minutes. Now that our cooking time is complete, we're just going to let this naturally release for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, we still have a little bit of steam, so I'm going to manually release that steam and I'll meet you back at the cutting board. Let's dive in here. Now we'll just come in with our trusty meat thermometer. We'll go ahead and check our temperature, make sure that we're at least 160, and we definitely are. So I'm going to pop this out. And I'm just going to set this off to the side. Now we have all of those drippings in here if we wanted to use that to make our gravy. Now remember, we kept that herb butter off to the side. We have two options. We can melt this down and we can use an injector if we wanted to inject this butter into the bird, which would be great. Or we can just take this and while it's hot, we can just layer it right on top and watch it just run down. Put a little here. Now you can see this skin is not crispy. If you like a crispy skin, what you can do is you can just put this under the broiler for just a few minutes. Now I'm just going to take this off of the rack and then we're going to wrap it with foil and let it rest for about 10 minutes. Let's cut into this, shall we? Oh, it's still steamy. Let's just give it a quick. Oh, it's so tender. Just fall apart. Look at that tender turkey. You can see how tender and flaky it is. Wow, I'm impressed, Instant Pot. I'm impressed. Wow, the flavor on this you are going to love. It is not heavy on the sage and the thyme at all. So even if you think that you don't love those, I would try it because it really is delicious and it's tender and juicy. This is a win, friend. It is now the following day and we are getting ready to put together our lemon basil crock pot turkey. Now what we're going to need for the crock pot is going to be just some sliced onions, a sliced carrot, that's going to go in the bottom of our crock pot, a cup of chicken broth, that's also going to go into our crock pot, and we're going to make this delicious basil butter sauce. So for our basil butter, what we need is a stick of butter, the zest and juice of half of a lemon, some house seasoning. We have a tablespoon of basil, and then 2 garlic cloves that we're going to run through our garlic press. We can't forget the star of the show. Our turkey is in here as well. I'm going to clear this off to the side and we're going to put this basil butter together. Now that we're all set up, let's get our butter in. We have our lemon zest and our basil going in. We have these 2 garlic cloves that we're just going to run through our garlic press. And the juice of the lemon. Okay, we're going to mix this all together. Oh, it smells so fresh. Now I'm going to take about 3 tablespoons of this and set it off to the side, because once the butter touches the bird, we don't want to reuse anything. So we want to make sure that we have some of this for later. Now that this is put together, I'm going to take my turkey, I'm going to drain it, and I'll meet you right back here. We have our turkey drained and we have our basil butter. So let's go ahead and put this together. Now, I will tell you, I'm going to come underneath the skin. I'm going to do it with my bare hands. We're just going to wash our hands a lot today, okay? Now, if you don't want to stick your fingers down here, what you can do is you can just take the back of a serving spoon and kind of separate the skin from the meat that way with the serving spoon. But you all know, if you've been here a while, I don't have that problem. I like to get my hands in, so I will be doing that. Okay, so I'm just going to come in, separate that skin a little bit. Now, either using the spoon or using your hand, we're just going to grab some of this basil butter, stick it down inside there, and you can kind of see how you can work it further down. But again, you know me, and I'm good to get my hands dirty. And I'm just kind of eyeballing this because we want half on one side, half on the other. I don't want to leave any of this basil butter behind. So I am just going to make sure I get all of it. And now I'm going to go wash my hands. Now that my hands are washed, we are coming back and we can touch everything. So I'm going to do everything that I need to before I touch the turkey again. So into the bottom of the crock pot goes some onions. I'm not going to be able to put too much down, but I need something, especially if we're going to use the drippings to make our gravy. And a carrot that I sliced up. And now I'll just take that 1 cup of chicken broth and put that down. Now we are ready to put the turkey into the crock pot. Okay, so our bird is down inside of our crock pot, and you can tell some of that basil butter tried to escape, but I stuck it back in there again. Before I go wash my hands, I wanted to take this butter that was left and just kind of put it all over the top. We'll just grab any basil butter that's left behind. Set that right there. Now I'm off to wash my hands. Just one more step to go before we hit the go button on our crock pot. I'm going to take that house seasoning and I'm just going to coat it all over the top, just like that. Now I'm going to cover this and we're going to cook it on low for 6 to 7 hours. However, I am going to come in and check it with a meat thermometer at 5 hours just to see how we're going. Back over here at the cutting board, you can see how it is golden, but it's not quite golden enough. But remember that basil butter that we kept out? I'm going to put this on the outside and then we're going to stick this under the broiler and crisp up this skin. I'm going to crisp up one side and then I'll flip it over and crisp up the other. After being under the broiler for just a few minutes, you can see we got nice and golden brown. I hope you can hear that. It crisped up nicely. Now we're just going to cover this with foil and let it rest for 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and try a slice. Now that we've rested for a little bit, let's dive in. Nicely done, Crockpot. Let's grab a bite. Basil and lemon and garlic, delicious. This is all that you're going to need to make a delicious bacon-topped turkey breast. The first thing that you're going to need to do is either grab a roasting pan, or since I don't have one, I'm going to make a roasting pan of my own by putting down some carrots and some onion. We need some bacon, of course our brined turkey. We need some avocado or olive oil and some barbecue seasoning. This is my own barbecue seasoning blend. I will link in the description below to the recipe. And then we have our bacon that we're going to weave together to put on top of our brined turkey. Now, if you're doing this as a turkey roast, you would do the exact same instructions minus the brining time. Let's get started weaving some bacon. Here I have a piece of parchment paper that's roughly the same size as our turkey breast, just to make it a little bit easy. Now I'm just going to lay my bacon down, starting at the top. And then we'll go to the next section. And since we have this on the parchment paper, it is so easy to flip and put on our turkey. Now I'm going to drain the turkey and I'll meet you right back here. Now this next step is a matter of personal preference. For me, I don't think that you need the skin because we're getting ready to put all of this fat on top of the turkey breast. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the skin. You can skip this step if that's not important to you, but for me, it's worth taking the extra time. Now that the skin has been removed and my hands have been washed, anybody counting how many times I say I'm washing my hands? Now that everything is clean, we're just gonna take some avocado oil here and we're just gonna pour it, kind of spread it with our brush. There we go. Once all of that is coated, we'll come in with our barbecue seasoning and we'll just sprinkle that all over the top. Okay, I'm just going to kind of break up those brown sugar clumps and go wash my hands again. There's another one for the count. Now the fun part. We just take our bacon rug, our bacon weaving, and slap it right down on top. After a little repair and a few nudges in the right direction, we have a beautiful bacon wrapped turkey breast. This is going to go into a 325-degree oven and it's going to cook for 22 minutes per pound. Again, since this is 6 pounds, we're going to cook it for about 132 minutes. We are an hour in and that bacon is looking a little crispy. So I'm going to come in and cover it with foil and have it tinted for the last bit of cooking. After letting it rest for 10 minutes, let's see what we have. I am going to do one thing with this one. I am going to come in with my injector and I'm going to put just a little bit of melted butter inside. Now let's talk, how do you carve this? You can either lift this off or you can just slice down and do the slices with the bacon attached. Either way, if you wanted to take this off, you could just chop it into little pieces and sprinkle it over the top of your turkey tray. You could definitely do that. Either way, it works great. You're still going to get the flavor of the bacon. All right, let's cut in for a little taste. Look how moist that is. Now, originally I told you that we were going to do 22 minutes a pound, but in actuality, we ended up at only 11 minutes per pound. So check your turkey breast halfway through and see if you've gotten up to about 160, because you'll have some carryover cooking time. So if you're up to 160, you're good. What do you think? Will you try barbecue turkey for your turkey this year? Grab a bacon, a little bite of turkey. Perfection. Oh wow, that is really good. Not your traditional herb turkey, but man, that barbecue seasoning with that bacon, it just goes together perfectly. I think you'll like this one, friend. Here are my final thoughts after cooking these 3 turkeys. Now, hands down, the easiest was the Instant Pot. You just throw it in there, it's done in under an hour, and it is delicious. You're not going to get the crispy skin, but you will get moist, delicious turkey that is done in under an hour without the use of your oven, unless you want the crispy skin and you decide to put it under the broiler. Speaking of not giving you a crispy skin, up next is that crock pot. Now friend, by far, the lemon basil flavor is my favorite. I love it. It's the citrus, it's the seasoning, it is delicious. Again, you're not gonna get the crispy skin, but if you put it under the broiler, you'll have that, and it is delicious. Take some time, but again, it's worth it. You have your oven free, so your turkey can be cooking in your crock pot. And finally, we have that bacon-topped turkey breast. Oh my goodness, what a great flavor. Now, if you have a griller in your life, this one works great on the grill as well, because the grill adds that little smokiness to it, and it's delicious. So if you don't have to cook the turkey and you have somebody who grills, consider doing that one as well. This was so much fun to put together. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below if you're gonna make any of these and what you think. Also down below in that description box is where you'll find the recipes to all of these seasoning blends and the turkey recipes as well. I hope you have a fabulous week, friend, and I'll see you soon. Bye.